A volcano in Colombia erupted. Scientists had warned for months exactly what would happen. A hazard map showing the town of Armero, directly in the Lahar path, had been published weeks before. The town was not evacuated. 23,000 people died, and a 13-year-old girl named Omaira Sanchez was watched dying live on television by millions of people around the world for 3 days, while the equipment that could have saved her never arrived. On November 13, 1985, the Nevado del Ruiz volcano in the Colombian Andes began erupting at approximately 9 p.m. Not a catastrophic explosion, but a moderate volcanic event that in isolation would have been manageable. But Nevado del Ruiz sits at 5,321 meters above sea level. Its summit is permanently covered in glacial ice and snow, and when a volcano covered in ice erupts, the heat melts the ice cap almost instantly, releasing an enormous volume of water that mixes with volcanic ash and debris to form a Lahar, a fast-moving river of volcanic mud with the consistency of wet concrete. The Lahar moved down the mountain at 60 kilometers per hour. Scientists from multiple organizations, including INGEOMINAS, the Colombian Geological Survey, had been monitoring Nevado del Ruiz for months and had specifically warned that a Lahar, triggered by even a moderate eruption, would flow directly down the Lagunillas River valley toward the town of Armero. They had produced a formal volcanic hazard map showing the exact danger zone. The map was published in October 1985, just weeks before the eruption. Armero sat directly in the predicted Lahar path on that map. The town was not evacuated. At approximately 11:30 p.m., the Lahar struck Armero. In minutes, the entire town was buried under meters of volcanic mud. 23,000 of Armero's 29,000 residents died in the darkness. The town that had existed for generations was simply gone, buried so completely that rescue teams the following morning struggled to identify where streets and buildings had been. Among the survivors was a 13-year-old girl named Omaira Sanchez, trapped in the rubble of her collapsed house, held from the waist down by debris beneath the mud and water. Her face and arms were above the surface. She was alive and conscious and talking to rescuers who gathered around her. For 60 hours, Omaira Sanchez remained alive and trapped, while rescuers tried everything available to free her. The specific problem was that she was pinned underwater by the collapsed structure of her house, and the water level around her could not be lowered without pumping equipment that the rescue operation did not have available. Requests were made for the pumping equipment. It never arrived in time. Journalists and television cameras recorded her face. Calm, conscious, occasionally delirious, occasionally singing, occasionally asking rescuers to let her sleep. Her photograph was transmitted around the world. Millions of people saw her face. She died on the morning of November 16, 1985, 60 hours after the Lahar struck. Still trapped, still in the water. The photograph of Omaira Sanchez, taken in her final hours, became one of the most widely published photographs of the 1980s. It won the World Press Photo of the Year award in 1986. A radio station in Armero had actually begun broadcasting evacuation warnings on the night of November 13th, but civil defense officials told the station to stop broadcasting the warnings because they did not want to cause panic. The warnings were stopped. The Lahar was not. 23,000 people, one map, one ignored warning, and a 13-year-old girl whose face the world watched for 3 days and could